there. Welcome back to another episode of I Am Not Naming This Podcast. I hope that you are feeling fantastic and ready to tune in because I have a special episode for you. Let's dive in, shall we? Happy New Year! Can you believe that it is 2026? I don't know where the time has gone, but welcome. How are you feeling this year? We're just getting started, but we're going to start with a check-in. So just take a moment and ask yourself, how am I feeling today? And just allow yourself to feel that. It is completely okay to check in with yourself and to be aware of what's going on within you. In fact, this should happen every day, multiple times a day, whenever needed, because you are so important. So don't ever forget that. We're now in a new year, and I spent my new year in church. We had a 10 p.m. service, and we got to do the countdown to midnight, and it was glorious. This was actually the first time I was in church at midnight, and I thought, why haven't I ever done this before? Because I went to the earlier service last year, but this service was amazing. And I will share with you that my bishop tasked us with a 90-day challenge. I am fully in, and I thought that it would be fun to share this with you because I'd love for you to be fully in with me if it resonates with you and if it sounds like the way that you want to start your new year. So I will share with you what this challenge is. It's brilliant, but I can't take credit for it because, again, my bishop is the one who gave us this challenge, but I will share with you. There are 3 steps. First is to pray. Second is to pay. And third is to stay. Now, I will explain what each of those mean. So every day we are praying for 3 things in 3 different categories. The first prayer is to thank God for something that happened yesterday. It's amazing because when we wake up in the morning, it takes about a second for old patterns to just come pouring in and for us to start to feel the way we've been conditioned to feel. And then before we know it, we could very easily miss the blessing in the moment. That blessing being that we made it to another day. Our heart's still beating. There's still air in our lungs. We are still alive. We have all of our faculties. And that's so worth thanking God for. So then we also get to reflect in this prayer portion. We get to say to ourselves, wow, something miraculous happened yesterday. And I just want to thank God for it. So that's the first part of the prayer, is to thank God for something that happened yesterday. The second part of the prayer is to pray for a virtue to be developed in your life today, to pray for yourself. How often do you pray for yourself? I hope it's every day, but if it's not, it's okay because you have this 90-day challenge to start. And it's a beautiful thing to pray for yourself. And again, like I said in the beginning, to be in touch with how you're feeling, what's going on with you. It's such a beautiful thing. So pray for a virtue to be developed within you. For example, you may want to pray to be more considerate. You may want to pray to be more patient. You may want to pray to be more humble. There are so many things that you can pray for yourself. And this is a beautiful prayer. It's not an opportunity for you to start nitpicking at your faults. So I just want to make that clear because you're praying from a place of faith, knowing that we are all a work in progress. So you're just picking one virtue a day to improve with God's help. And it's a prayer because you're calling on God, because God is putting in the work on your behalf. And so when you say this prayer over yourself, I invite you to be really kind to yourself. I invite you to leave the judgment out of it and to simply pray to God to help you in one area per day. And then the third part of the prayer is to pray for a specific person. So ask God to put a person on your heart. This could be family, this could be a friend, this could be someone who you walked past one day while you were out and about and you don't even know their name. Whoever it is, ask God to put it on your heart to pray for one person per day. And just like with every part of this prayer, you have an opportunity to really go in. It doesn't have to be a one-line prayer. You can really enjoy it, really indulge in it. Take your time and allow God to speak to you during this time. Because if you give him the space, he will fill it. And you would be amazed what downloads you may receive as you're praying. You will be amazed how God will work through you. So that's step 1 of the 90-day challenge, is to pray those 3 different prayers every day. Then step 2 is to pay, tithe, return it to the Lord every pay period. And if you don't have a church home, this could also be a fun adventure for you, because you may just try out a couple of places. You may just go visit. Before I found my church home, I went to a few different churches and I really sat with it and just allowed God to reveal to me the different aspects that ultimately ended up allowing me to know that this was my church home. And one thing I will say about picking a church home is that you want to really listen to God. You may want to ask him to help you with your discernment. That could be one of the virtues, in fact, that you pray about in step 1, to really discern which place is the place for you, which place he wants you to be rooted. And remember that it's truly about God and your connection with him. And yes, in the right church home, the people within that house will help you in your relationship with God, because you'll learn from them. You'll grow alongside them. We may go to church, but then look at the flawed people within the church, which, FYI, is everyone, because we all have flaws. We are imperfect, which is just the way we were designed. So people sometimes will try to find reasons not to go. Sometimes those flawed people will become the reason why a person might be discouraged and turned off from going to church. But if you go in with the mindset that we're all in this together, none of us are perfect, can we still worship God together? Can we still learn and grow together? Yes, we can. So I invite you to just be patient with people, especially in that parking lot. Because when everyone's trying to leave church at the same time, that parking lot gets really small really quick. So if you could find it within yourself to give people grace, then you could find that you have a better experience and it makes it easier to find your church home. So that's step 2 for 90 days, paying tithes every pay period. And then step 3 is stay. Stay in God's house at least once per week. Ooh. So yeah, going back to that church home. If you have a church home, it makes it really easy to stay in God's house once per week. If you don't have a church home, then you may try, like I said, a couple of different ones. But either way, once you get in there and you go to service and you start to pray alongside others, it's really powerful and fun, just once per week. So the easiest way to do that is to attend church on Sunday, but also it could be Bible study. You may also want to look into that. It's usually during the week on a Wednesday or a Thursday. but for 90 days, pray, pay, and stay. I'm excited about this personally because I have a prayer practice already. I read scripture every day. I already have the things that I do that have been really empowering and enlightening for me. So now I get to just add these specific prayers that we talked about on top of that. And that's really fun because so far it's been enriching my daily practice. And that's why I enjoy it so much. And then knowing that there are people all around the world who are doing this together, because the people who go to my church, some of them live stream from other countries. They're just all over. So literally as a collective, we are doing this all over the world. And there is a power in that that is so potent. So if you want to join in, I invite you to join in. We're doing this for 90 days, and I will certainly be talking about it. And I absolutely welcome you to reach out to me to share in the comments of this podcast if you would like to just share how your experience is going, and just keep your eyes open for miracles. I invite you to do that, because if you seek, you shall find. Happy New Year, my loves. Let's do this. It's going to be amazing. Talking to you is one of my favorite parts of the week. I hope you got something out of this episode today. If you'd like to help more people find I Am Not Naming This Podcast by Chernice Dieudonne, you can do so by subscribing and leaving a review. Also, feel free to share with a friend or family member.